It's a bit of a stretch and it's kind of crazy, but eventually it could be revealed to be true. The age-old question of how Grogu survived Order 66. When we first saw him in Season 1 of The Mandalorian, we had no idea how he actually ended up where he was. But from gathering evidence, we can kind of figure out that the Imperials knew something more than anybody else, especially Moff Gideon. You see, by Season 2 of The Mandalorian and now in the Book of Boba Fett, there is no doubt that something more was going on with Grogu than we were led on. He was not just a simple Padawan inside the Jedi Temple. He was being kept alive for something more special than just his skills. Din Djarin first discovered Grogu in Arvala 7. This is the first time we see Grogu. The latest we have seen of Grogu, he recalled his time during Order 66 inside the Jedi Temple, and surprise surprise, there are clones approaching him. As I said in the previous video, there is a looming shadow that comes over him. It could be clones, but it could be Darth Vader as well. We still have no idea, but at least we can connect these two things. The last time and the first time we see Grogu is Order 66 inside the Jedi Temple, and then a huge jump to Arvala 7 when inexplicably he is on that planet and Din Djarin discovers him, who was sent by the Imperial Remnant. This is all very mysterious and murky stuff. What is not mysterious is Palpatine's intentions, what he planned immediately after becoming Emperor of the Galaxy and eventually planning to live forever and ever. I think this definitely involved Grogu in some way, as we see with the Client and Dr. Pershing. They had these secretive Kabbalic plans for Grogu, and I wonder who gave them that idea. But just to be fair to everybody watching this video, let's start naming the possible candidates of who saved Grogu from the clones in Order 66. Well, one possibility that I talked about a year ago was the Jedi librarian Jocasta Nu. In the comics, it is shown that Jocasta Nu not only survived Order 66, but she went on to semi-construct her own Jedi library in a different world, and she was planning to start a Jedi Academy as well. However, those plans got halted when she died at the hands of Darth Vader. In my mind, this is one of the biggest possibilities. The next possibility is, believe it or not, Barriss Offee. During that scene in Grogu's vision where the clones are moving forward, you can see an insignia that signifies Barriss Offee. We know that Barriss Offee was discovered by Anakin to have fallen into darkness, and she actually framed Ahsoka Tano to the bombing of the Jedi Temple. Once she was discovered, she was then arrested and put in custody. Where was she put in custody? We still don't have that information. She was possibly imprisoned inside the Jedi Temple, and once all chaos broke loose during Order 66, she could have been freed somehow and ended up grabbing Grogu in her way out. It could have even been Darth Vader or Anakin Skywalker, whatever you want to call him during that time, because he is not in his suit. He entered with clear instructions: kill everybody inside, even the younglings. But what if Darth Vader killed all the younglings as we see in Revenge of the Sith, and then afterwards, after doing this horrible deed, he came upon Grogu? After killing all those younglings, it is possible that Darth Vader couldn't bring himself to kill another child, and that's why he hid him from Palpatine. It wasn't the first time that Darth Vader hid younglings from Palpatine. As we see in the comics, Darth Vader gets his hands on the Force-sensitive children's list that he took from Jocasta Nu. He was supposed to hand that list over to Palpatine, however, he did not. He destroyed that list. This means that even in the new days of the Imperial era, Darth Vader was hiding things from his master even early on. Now we come to the weirdest and kind of craziest possibility ever, is that Palpatine didn't quote-unquote save him from Order 66, but he might have sheltered Grogu from harm just in order to gain from Grogu for himself. Now hear me out. We know that from the Battlefront games and by Rise of Skywalker, we know that Palpatine had a lot of contingency plans in place. He knew that one day he would be either betrayed, killed, or whatever the case, and he would need to rebuild his empire again, or just simply live forever. Once discovering Grogu and possibly his midichlorian count, he wanted to siphon his blood. Palpatine knew that he needed Grogu's blood in order to live for a long time, survive, whatever his sinister goals were. The most recent showcase of Palpatine's madness was actually in the Darth Vader 2020 comic series, which takes place after Empire Strikes Back. In that comic series, we see Darth Vader journey to Exegol. There, on that planet, he realizes just how batshit crazy Palpatine really was. He even comes upon cloning tanks where inside you can clearly see Snoke getting created years before he presents himself to Ben Solo. So you can see to what extent Palpatine would go to realize his plans. Why do I say this? Well, how do the other Imperial remnants know about this plan? You see, it is never explained to us how the client from the Imperial remnant, played by Werner Herzog and Dr. Cushing, knew about Grogu and how to exploit his blood. Furthermore, once Grogu falls into the hands of Moff Gideon, again, this Imperial, who was heavily involved with operations of Palpatine and Vader, he immediately knew what to use Grogu for. He even insinuated that his Force-sensitive blood could do many great things. So how did Werner Herzog and Moff Gideon, both high-ranking Imperials, knew what to do with Grogu? It is because of these two Imperials that I think big hints are given that at one point Palpatine was involved in sheltering Grogu for his sinister purposes. Now we get to another looming question, and it's fair for you guys to ask it, of course. Palpatine might have saved Grogu from Order 66, but what saved Grogu from Palpatine? Well, therein lies the mystery. Somebody then went on to save him from Palpatine himself, and it could have very well been a Jedi. Either way, Grogu's mysterious appearance in The Mandalorian Season 1 in the first episode is a huge question mark. We don't know how he escaped the Jedi Temple, and we don't know how he appeared in Arvala 7 when Din Djarin encountered him. I think that eventually it could have been that Palpatine instructed the clones or even Darth Vader to kill everybody but this particular child who had a midichlorian count bigger even than Anakin Skywalker. We as an audience were just never told, and eventually we're gonna find out in possibly Mandalorian Season 3. Don't forget that Sidious always planned things out decades ahead of time. That's how he got control of an entire galactic republic, of an empire, and that's how he came back to life 40 years later. At the center of this, it could be revealed in Mandalorian Season 3 that Palpatine had big plans for Grogu, and that's why he was eventually taken as prisoner during Order 66 instead of killed. Of course, it's completely crazy, and we'll have to wait until Mandalorian Season 3. I hope we'll get an answer by then. Guys, let me know what you guys think about this crazy possibility. Thank you guys so much for watching this video, and if you enjoyed, leave a thumbs up down below. Subscribe for dailies. Now you can have an awesome day, Star Wars fans. I'll see you in the next video, and may the Force be with you. Until then.